All right, it's great to see you guys. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. We're getting close to the holidays, and I guess we could go ahead and call this our Christmas show since I probably won't be doing one till after. But I wanted to start off by first of all thanking everybody here for checking in on me. I've been reading the comments before we got going, and so many people wanted to know how we're doing here in Tennessee. We're fine where I'm at. I'm over on the eastern side of it, and we've not really had any real terrible weather here. We've had some rain. We've had a little bit of, it's just been kind of a dreary looking, rainy, cloudy day. But so far, we've not had any real severe weather, knock on wood. And my heart goes out to everybody out in Clarksville. And for all you watching, wherever you're at, I really hope that you guys are okay and staying in and staying safe, because it's rough weather out there. I've been watching what's been going on out of Clarksville. It's pretty damn scary. I didn't even realize that a lot of that was going on, because I was out doing some Christmas shopping today. And so, good to see you're doing good in Jellicoe. I used to play in Jellicoe quite a bit back in the day. There used to be a couple of little bars around town there that I cut my teeth in, so it's always good to see people in Jellicoe. And before we get rolling here and we get everything situated, okay. All right, just getting my admin started so we can ward off the trolls this time. We've been doing good. We've not had as many trolls as we used to have, and sometimes they pop up. But I've got an admin in place that's gonna take care of them. It's funny. All those years playing in Jellicoe, Tennessee, we had bouncers back in those days, and when people got out of line, we had someone bounce them out. And now we got admins. I mean, who would have knew that we would have made it to that point in time? I mean, here we are. Instead of playing on a rowdy dive bar with a bunch of drunks, we're sitting here playing into our phone at the kitchen table, and we have an admin who will get rid of the riffraff. So we've came a long way. But as far as I know, we're not under any tornado warnings or anything like that. Last time I looked at the weather forecast for where I'm at, it's mainly rain starting around 11. But I'm probably not going to go as long tonight as normal. I've kind of been a little under the weather. I don't know exactly what's been wrong. I've been fighting off some kind of crud. I had one listener say, "You sound kind of congested down in your chest." I have been. So we'll see how it works when I start singing. I don't know how it's necessarily going to be, but it can't be no worse than all the drunken nights in Jellicoe. So we'll be okay. But it's good to see y'all rolling in. Hello out in Texas. I've seen a lot of people rolling in from different parts. We got Canada in here. We got Texas. This is really cool. Oklahoma. Thank you. San Francisco. It's great seeing you guys roll in. Guess I'll go ahead and address this little guy. I made a video about him, but I found this at Target, and this is what a lot of people got really mad about. I guess I'll go ahead and take the price tag off of him now that I've got him secure. But yeah, this is what got a lot of people mad, man. It's funny what people choose to get worked up over these days. This little disabled black Santa really got conservatives pissed. And stumbled across it in the Target. And when I went in there, I was thinking about the song I wrote earlier this year called Bubba's Mad at Target. I'm about to play it here in a second. But I walked in that damn place, and I'm sitting there looking around, and I come up on this black Santa, and I was like, that's what made people mad? Like, wow. And so I went ahead and bought one. And what's wild about it is there was so many people in there buying them. There was a guy in front of me, white dude, had like 3 of them in his buggy. And so it was good to see them selling. I don't know why. I was going to get one of the Pride Nutcrackers, but they were all sold out. So, I think people get bent out of shape over stuff way too much, and it's ridiculous. But anyway, we'll play some music. We'll talk about the world around us, and we'll try to lay low and hope this bad weather passes on through. Because again, wherever you're at in Tennessee, it's been pretty bad here, but it's not bad where I'm at. We're okay here in my part of Tennessee at the moment, knock on wood. But wherever you guys are at, just lay low, and hopefully we'll work our way through it. We'll start it off with a little music. We'll do some Bubba's Mad at Target and send this out to our little Santa here. Bubba's mad at Target, says they went woke, screaming at his phone, crying how they're going broke. got all butthurt over pride and rainbows. Bubba's mad at Target, says they went woke. For Bubba and his buddies, it's been some rough years. Gave up football and shot up all their beer. Burned all their Carhartts, refused to shop at Dick's. I lost count of their outrage, I can't even with these pricks. And even Walt Disney got them all been out of shape. I never knew rednecks loved the Little Mermaid. They hated bro country, said it was for the birds. Cranked up Morgan Wallen when he shouted the N-word. Yeah, Bubba's mad at Target since they went woke. Screaming at his phone, crying how they're going broke. Why do they always have to cram it in his face? Bubba's mad at Target, never shop there anyway. Yeah, Bubba's mad at Target, never shop there anyway. All right, and to truly honest out there, yeah, I remembered to let my left hand be seen. The last time the Buddha was hiding it, so anyone out there that plays guitar that was trying to figure out the chords was having a hard time following me. So I made sure that the Buddha and the Santa moved over here this time. So again, thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you all for rolling in, and we look forward to the show. Again, we're concerned over all the weather that's going on in Tennessee. So everybody out there, hope you stay safe. And so far, so good here in my neck of the woods. I was able to bump into a couple of people last night. I went to a show in Maryville, Tennessee, and watched Mike and the Moon Pies, which is one of my favorite honky-tonk country bands. For those of you out there that are always saying, I want to hear real country, and I'm tired of all the bubblegum stuff on the radio and all the manufactured pop twang that they got going on, Mike and the Moon Pies out of Texas, I believe is where they're from. They're phenomenal. And they've just got a really good old school sound with a steel guitar in there and twin leads, and I love them. And they got great songs. That's the thing. They got a lot of great songs, great storytelling, and just awesome musicianship. And so we went down to the Shed, the Harley Davidson dealership down there in Maryville, and watched them, and ran into a couple of people come up and said, "Hey, aren't you Tennessee Brando?" And had a couple of people walk by and kind of look me up and down. So far, so good, though, as far as being recognized. I've not had anybody, get in my face and scream at me yet. I'm sure it's coming, but so far so good. It's been pretty positive, and I had a lot of people saying some cool things. So that was a lot of fun and a good show. But yeah, I'm definitely going to be playing some of the music that I started that I wrote years ago before that I started doing all the political commentary. And I saw someone ask for Manufactured Twang. I want to let everybody know that. Couple of days ago, I was on my buddy Mike McGill's podcast. Mike McGill's another great singer-songwriter out of Knoxville, Tennessee. Probably got the best voice in town, to be honest with you. And I was on his podcast called One More for the Good Guys with him and his co-host Jamie Akins. And we just sat around for about 2.5, 3 hours, and we talked about a whole lot of things, but we really didn't talk about politics. We didn't argue politics, nothing like that. We just sat around and talked about cigars and music and songwriting and things like that. And we had a great time. I think it'll be a couple of weeks before that episode airs, because they've been recording episodes and backlogging them and basically just sitting around with, East Tennessee's finest as far as that goes, and having good conversations with them. Mike's one of my favorite people. But anyway, while I was on the podcast at one point, he asked me, he said, "What would be your favorite song that you ever wrote? Do you have a favorite?" And I get that question a lot. There's a whole lot of people wants to know, what my favorite tune is. And it would be impossible to say that I have a favorite. But this one here would be up in the top for me, and I told this story on Mike's podcast. The song Manufactured Twang that I wrote, it's on the album Live at the Butcher's Pub. If you look up Brandon Fulson, that's Fulson, you can find it on Spotify or iTunes or wherever it is you dig your music. But it was on Live at the Butcher's Pub, and I also recorded a single version of it, but it was never actually on a studio album, which I kind of done on purpose. A lot of my favorite bands from back in the day would do that. They would have a song that would only be on a live album or only be released as a single, and I just thought that was... I never really could find a place to fit it on none of my albums, so it just ended up on a live one. But anyway, Manufactured Twang has always held a special spot in my heart, and it would have to be considered a favorite because I wrote it back in 2011. And at the time, I was the house band at a bar called the Mustang Lounge in Tazewell, Tennessee. It's no longer there. If you pass through Tazewell now, it's a pawn shop. But it's a good pawn shop, and I bought a pretty cool guitar the other day. I would show it to you guys, but I've already took it to have it worked on and set up. But anyway, I was house banding that place, and I woke up one Sunday morning. I never will forget it, man. And I was really hungover. In the words of Chris Christopherson, man, Sunday morning was really coming down. And so I looked over at my phone, and I had a text message from a buddy of mine, Keith Brando. He had sent me a text message and said, dude, I just had an idea for an opening line for a song, and if you want to run with it, go for it. And all it said was, my soul is an engine running on fumes, and I'll fill it with sadness of a Hank Williams tune. And I thought, damn, that's exactly how I'm feeling right now. You know, I'm definitely feeling that at the moment. And so I just laid there in the bed before my feet even hit the floor, and I just, right there in the little text bar, I just wrote the rest of the song. And I left him room for one line on the end of it. And I said, dude, I left you room for one line at the end of this. Think of something to say at the very end, and I'll get out of bed and put it to music. And so I texted over to him, and he texted me back, and the line said, the longer the journey, the shorter the stay. And I said, perfect. And so I got out of bed and wrote it down and put it to music. And then I didn't end up recording it until 2017. It was weird. I would play it in my live shows, but I just never ended up recording it. It never ended up on an album anywhere. It always just kind of kept getting shelved for whatever reason. And then on New Year's Eve, when we were going from 2015 into 16, I was married at the time, but we were right at the end of the marriage. It was fixing to fall apart. We both knew it was like a matter of, okay, which one's going to get up and leave first is basically where we were. And so rolls around New Year's Eve, and I'm like, what are we going to do for New Year's Eve? And she's like, I'm not doing anything. I'm just going to sit here and, I'm going to sit here in the bed and do nothing. And I was like, well, I want to get out and do something. And I'd always had it on my bucket list for whatever reason. I'd always had it on my bucket list. I wanted to make the drive from Knoxville, Tennessee to Oak Hill, West Virginia, which was the last ride that Hank Williams Sr. ever made. He left Knoxville on New Year's Eve, and he was found, or New Year's Day, I think it was, and he was found dead later that day in Oak Hill, Virginia, when they stopped the car to get gas. So I've always been fascinated with that story. There was a great movie about it, which wasn't all true, but we won't get into all that. Anyway, it was an entertaining movie, I'll say that. And I've just always been fascinated by that. So I said to her, I said, well, I'd like to do that. You want to do that with me? Which I realize is kind of a crazy thing to ask someone who you're about to break up with. Hey, you want to take a ride and see where some dude died? But anyway, she said, no, I don't want to do that. And I said, okay. So I asked my dad if he would go with me. And he did. We rode up there. And if you stay true to the map, if you just try to, do a Google map, it'll shoot you up the interstate. You can be there in like 4 hours. But if you stay true to the route that Hank Williams took, it's over 6 hours, close to 7. And so we didn't get there until after dark. And got there and found the place where they discovered that Hank Williams Sr. had died. And it was a little gas station. It was already tore down. The only thing left was like the pump standing there. And they had like some yellow tape around the parking lot. And I stood there on the parking lot. And this song that I wrote, the Manufactured Twang, that I wrote like 6 years earlier, basically, it was there in my head, just kind of stuck, because I'm talking about in the song later. When I'm referring to my old friend Luke that drifted away, I'm referring to Luke the Drifter, which was Hank Williams' alias. And, there's a line in there, you'll hear it here in just a second, about I'm standing at the edge of his early grave. And I don't know, I was just standing there thinking, damn, this is where it all ended for the guy. And so when I got back in the car and headed home, I got a call from my then wife saying that it was over, not even to bother coming home. So I was like, damn, I guess I just took my last ride too. And so that was it. That was the end of that one. And I ended up saying, yeah, now's the time to record this and get it out there to people. So it's called the Manufactured Twang. Soul is an engine running on fumes, and I feel it with sadness of a Hank Williams tune. My brain is a highway, I'm rambling around. I got the heart of a poet, so I write it all down. My old friend Luke, he done drifted away. and we all struck gold on the road he paved. But the sequins and rhinestones could never shine bright as the women and whiskey and all the white lines. I'm living the life that killed Elvis, stuck in a heartbreak hotel. And old Jerry Lee tried to warn us this car was headed for hell. We're dancing like Jesco and D-Ray, we're crying when the old possum sang, and laughing at all them posers making that manufactured twang. I last saw Luke on a lost highway. He left us a shadow and a price to pay. And now I stand at the edge of his early grave. I know the longer the journey, the shorter the stay. I'm living the life that killed Elvis, stuck in a heartbreak hotel. And old Jerry Lee tried to warn us that this car was headed for hell. We're dancing like Jesco and D-Ray, crying when the old possum sang, laughing at all them posers making that manufactured twang. All right, thank y'all so much. I want to let you guys know that I've got my laptop set over here so I can see the comments better. If I ignore any comments, I'm not meaning to. One thing I've learned about doing these kind of shows is I kind of have to look away from the comment section while I'm singing, because I'll start reading a comment and forget where I'm at in the song. But I did see a comment roll by that wanted to know who signed my guitar, and that would be the dancing outlaw Jesco White. If you've ever saw the documentary, The Wild and Wonderful Whites of West Virginia, that was Jesco that signed that for me. I did 2 shows with him up in Johnson City at the Galaxy Lounge. I don't even know if that place is still there, but I did 2 shows with him at the Galaxy Lounge. Ended up getting really drunk with him. And also, not only did he sign my guitar, he also signed my wrist here. I've got a permanent Jesco tattoo. This is my Jimmy Buffett tattoo. You know where Jimmy Buffett says, I got a real beauty, a Mexican cutie, and how it got there, I haven't a clue. That's my tattoo. That's my Jimmy Buffett tattoo, I tell people, because what happened was, we're at this show playing, and they were like, we're going to be giving out $20 Jesco tattoos. The first one's free. And I was like, what's a Jesco tattoo? They said, well, he'll just sign your, he'll just autograph you and just, well, then I'll take and, tattoo the autograph on you. I was like, okay, I'm not going to do that. But, you're with Jesco White, you're partying, you're drinking, you're having a good time. And next thing you know, nobody will be the first one to do it. It's like the first one that does it gets it free, and then everybody else has to pay $20. And I'm like, okay, sign me up. So I sat down and was willing to be the guinea pig for that. And then several other people followed suit. Like, it was one of those things like, okay, now we're all going to do it. And now this wasn't I can't remember the guy's name to save my life, but this wasn't no shady tattoo artist, by the way. I mean, he was one of Johnson City's best, so it was safe and it was clean and all that. But yeah, I woke up the next morning, my wrist was stinging really bad, and I was like, what in the world happened? And I had Jesco White's name on me and will from now on. So that's the tattoo that I woke up with and didn't have a clue how it got there. But yeah, rest in peace to Jimmy Buffett, man. He was one of the greats. And, I would play you guys some covers here on YouTube, but every time I do, I get flagged with copyright claims, and I'm not allowed to monetize the videos. And so that's kind of a bummer. And there's been a couple of times that I've actually got flagged for my own songs, which is really weird. They're like, Brandon Fulson owns that song. And I'm like, I know, I'm him. So I'm still trying to learn how to navigate this thing and work through all the red tape and get it figured out. During the last live that I did, I had a copyright claim on like 20 seconds of one of my songs, and it was by a group that claimed it was their song, and it didn't. I went and listened to their song. It sounded nothing like it. It was nowhere in the ballpark. The melody wasn't the same. The words wasn't the same. And I had the option to appeal it and to fight it, basically, and prove that I wrote the song, which I think was the Uncle Dale tune, I believe, where they just zoomed in on a little section of it and made a copyright claim, which didn't count as a strike against my account, but it was just annoying that now I was going to have to share monetization with somebody for a stupid reason. And so I decided, they said you could either mute the section, you could cut the section out, or it was only like 22 seconds. And I was like, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and mute that section, because my luck, I will try to make the claim, and then when I do, somebody's going to, YouTube's going to say, nope, you're wrong, and then I'm going to end up, getting my channel banned. So I didn't want to do that. I just figured it wasn't worth it to argue with them. So if you go back and watch that live, you're like, well, it went silent for a minute, that's why. But I would love to play some cover tunes. One of these days, we'll have to go over to Facebook or someplace like that where you can get away with it. TikTok won't let you get away with it either. I tried it over there, and I actually uploaded one of my own music videos to that one, and again, got it silenced because it was mine. They're telling me, hey, Brandon wrote that, and I'm going, I know he did it. That's me. But that's just one of those things that you have to live with. But anyway, I want to thank everybody for the tips that have been rolling in. I really appreciate it. Thanks, Jeff, for that. I saw Jeff roll by. Saw Jess roll by. Thank you so much for those. You don't have to. I know it's getting close to Christmas, and we're all having it's tough times we're living in, so I'm not expecting you to do that, but I really appreciate when you do it. It sure helps out, and I appreciate it. So if I don't shout you out, it's because I'm probably singing, and the comments go by pretty fast on here, and it's hard to. On my phone, they just kind of pop up and go away. I've got my laptop pulled up over here. They'll stay here for a little bit longer, but it's not like other platforms, for whatever reason, the screen kind of rolls. But on YouTube, the screen kind of jumps, which makes it a little bit harder to keep up with, because all of a sudden you're looking at some comments, and then all of a sudden 5 disappears and 5 more comes up. So hopefully I'll see them all and be able to shout you guys out. But I thank y'all so much for being here. And again, like we were talking about at the start of the show, hope everyone's staying safe out there in this weather, and hope that it passes and you guys are safe, because I didn't realize that there was so much stuff going on. I really didn't realize that all the bad weather was hitting, because I was just kind of out trying to do some last minute Christmas shopping and tie all that up. And figured I'd do this one for you, because I had I was talking to a buddy of mine the other day, and a lot of times when you start talking about things online, start voicing your opinion, and you start, especially when you have trolls trying to give you a hard time, they'll say to you, well, you're just in an echo chamber. I've had people tell me that. Well, you're just staying in an echo chamber. And I'm like, no, actually, I couldn't stay in an echo chamber if I wanted to. I live right in the Bible Belt, I am in a very red part of the world. So there's no escaping this. I mean, I'm always going to be hearing the other side of things. But what I was trying to get across in this tune here, which was on the album Shots of Truth Volume 1, it's available under Tennessee Brando. What I was trying to get across in this tune here was that, if where I'm going to stay is where, there's no hatred and there's no bullshit and there's just, rational thoughts and there's compromise and there's people, having a reasonable conversation, then that's the echo chamber I want to stay in. I don't want to be in an echo chamber with a bunch of hatred. I don't want to be in an echo chamber with a bunch of bullshit. And so that's kind of where this song was going. But be sure, folks, to hit the like button and the notification button. Also, whenever I learned this the other day, and again, I'm still new to all this, but when you hit the like button, be sure to hit the notification bell as well, because that way you'll be notified the next time I post something. So yeah, be sure to hit the like button and share this thing and get it out there to people. We got over 300 people in the house, and I appreciate you guys so much for being here. I'm going to do this one off Shots of Truth Volume 1 that's called the Echo Chamber. If no spreading lies. Just rational thoughts and compromise. If there's no vile words of anger, I'll stay inside of my echo chamber. No misinformation, conspiracy theories, misguided fools playing judge and jury. If there's just peace and love in your neighbor, I'll stay inside of my echo chamber. Ain't shaking hands with a clenched fist, no need to unite. If you done picked your poison, done went and chose up your side. If you're just passing blame and pointing your fingers, well, I'll stay inside my echo chamber. Clickbait headlines to distract, they comfort you with alternative facts. If you're gonna quote that orange savior, won't you step outside your echo chamber? All right, thank you so much, and thanks to Clint for updating his membership to a Brando enthusiast. I want to let you guys know that I do have memberships available here on YouTube. It kind of serves the same way as Patreon does. You can have a monthly subscription for, I think the first tier is $2.99, then it's $6.99, then it's all the way up to $24.99. And there's different perks with each tier. So if you haven't done that, be sure to check them out. We have Members Only Monday that I do every Monday, where I basically give an update as to what's going on, and just kind of do a weekly recap kind of thing, and let everybody know what's happened and what what's about to happen. So that's a lot of fun. We have those, and there's also a lot of members only content that I put on there. So if you haven't had a chance to check those out yet, be sure to go over to the YouTube memberships and give them a shout out. And I also want to shout out Todd, part of the kitchen table crew. I started these shows, for those of you that don't know, I started doing these back in the pandemic, back when the gigs got canceled and everything shut down. There was a point where we started trying to figure out what we were going to do next. And I ended up learning how to do these live streams to make a little income and at least get the music out there to people and get them heard. And so we started doing those, and I had some, and still do have some very loyal fans that have been listening ever since then. And Todd was one of them. And if anyone else I've missed from the original Kitchen Table Crews in the house, I'm glad to see y'all still hanging with me. Like I said, Todd's been there pretty much from day one, and so really appreciate him for being here and hanging in there. Trying to follow the comments and get everything out there. Like I said before, if I were to miss anything, if you guys got a request, I'm not ignoring you. It's not that I don't want to play it. Now, unless you start shouting for Wagon Wheel, then I'll go ahead and let you know I'm ignoring you. Okay, I'm not paying attention. But if you're all right, let's see. Yeah, Jeff, I will definitely try to get to that one here in just a minute. I'll have to tune my guitar for that one because I've got it. I tuned down to do that one, but if I can remember it, might take me a minute. Remind me to come back to that one, Jeff, and thank you for the tip. I might be able to get through it. But anyway, it's a good request from Jeff, and I appreciate it. And if I butcher it, Jeff, I apologize in advance. But because it's not a song that I've played out a whole lot, because Donald Trump isn't the president anymore. But back when he was, in 2018, I wrote this tune, and I was really surprised at how many people out there didn't know what I was talking about. The name of the song was Stone Cold Stunned the President. And a lot of people was like, what in the world is Stone Cold? Even one of my bandmates said, what does Stone Cold Stun the President mean? And I said, well, Donald Trump was once upon a time on WrestleMania, and the wrestler Stone Cold Steve Austin hit him with the Stone Cold Stunner. And by the way, I just got to say that he took one of the worst Stone Cold Stunners I have ever seen. Me and my son was out wrestling on the trampoline on Thanksgiving, and I took a stunner better than he did. Which, I hate to say it, but Vince McMahon passed him up. If you saw the WrestleMania from like last year or the year before, where Stone Cold wrestled, Vince tried to take a stunner, that's the worst one I've ever seen. But Donald Trump is still a solid number 2, no pun intended, for taking one of the worst stunners that I've ever seen. It was horrible. But anyway, when Stone Cold got elected, or not Stone Cold, when Trump got elected, I was saying to myself, damn, we live in a world where Stone Cold Steve Austin hit the Stone Cold Stunner on the president. And so I wrote this tune. I'm not going to try to tune my guitar. I'm just going to see if I can play it in the right key. Because, see if I can do it here. Because it would be a pain to try to tune it down in the middle of the show. But we'll see if we can get through it for you, Jeff. And again, I apologize in advance if I butcher it. It's been a long time since I sang it. But thank you for tuning in. Thank you for the tip. Try to do it justice. But one thing about this song, there's one line in it that everybody asks me about. They're like, what are you talking about? Well, I'll tell you the moment that I started writing this tune. I had the idea, but I just hadn't started writing it on paper yet. And I left work early one day to go to a show. I think I was going to see Bob Seger, of all people, who's one of my biggest idols. It's one of my favorite songwriters of all time. And I stopped at this little gas station called Kay's Market in Maynardville, Tennessee. For anybody that's ever been there, they do have some really good chicken. It's a little gas station, but their chicken is phenomenal. It's called Chappie's Chicken. And so I stopped and walked in. Funny story. I walked in to get some. There's this old lady behind the counter, and I said, yeah, I want to get some chicken tenders. And she said, well, honey, I'm sorry to tell you we're all out of chicken tenders, but I do have a couple of chicken breasts. Would you want a chicken breast? I was like, yeah, that's fine. So she looks around for a minute. She can't find her tongs, and this is pre-COVID, by the way. But she just reaches in by her hands and grabs that piece of chicken. She goes, honey, my hands are clean. And she just grabs it like this and palms it like a basketball and just hands it to me. And I was like, oh, okay. But then I said to myself, hell, it could be a lot worse. I was hungry. So I went ahead and ate it. And then I got down the road and stopped again for whatever reason. And I was sitting there going, damn, like that chicken is really starting to get to me. And that's where the line, I got Chappie's rumbling in my gut and a song brewing in my head came from. Chappie's is a brand of chicken for anyone that wants to know once they hear this tune. And also thanks to Mary for upgrading her membership. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Hopefully I can get through it, Jeff. Jeff, I love you, Jeff, because you always ask for the ones that keeps me on my toes. Nazis in the street, I never seen defeated. Just really glad old Grandpa didn't live to see it. Now rednecks don't mind Russia swaying an election. I miss the days when all they bitched about was Billy's erection. Junior says we gotta build the wall. He cusses Latinos as he orders his favorite number 5 down at Pablo's Cantina. And the kids are eating Tide Pods. We gotta ban those videos. Let's give old George a sawed off and see how far he goes. I got Chappie's rumbling in my gut and a song brewing in my head. Payday, it done came and went, and now I'm right back in the red. I got a pickup truck, it won't do much but go straight to work and home. So beat up that Nashville wouldn't even put it in a country song. The cards are stacked, the game is rigged, and will I ever get the win? When I live in a world where Stone cold, stun the president. Scripted reality can get 1 million views. Honest to God talent barely ever makes the news. We demonize education, we ignore what the scientist says, but believe in whatever caption they put beside a Willy Wonka's head. Yeah, my mom sent me to see Batman back when I was just a kid. And now the Joker, he's the voice of reason the older that I get. And as I sit at this kitchen table, figuring these bills at night, I hate to say I'm beginning to understand old Walter White. I got chappies rumbling in my gut and a song brewing in my head. Payday, it done came and went, and now I'm right back in the red. I got a pickup truck, it won't do much but go straight to work and home. It's so beat up that Nashville wouldn't even put it in a country song. The cards are stacked, the game is rigged, and will I ever get the win? When I live in a world where Stone Cold stunned the president. Yeah, I live in a world where Stone Cold stunned the president. All right, thank you so much, and shout out to Bradsky, his first live with Brando. Love the videos. Thank you so much for being here. Glad that this is your first time and hope you enjoy it. And I want to thank the members who are starting to roll in. And again, if you haven't checked out the Brando memberships here on YouTube, just click on those and check them out. And be sure to share this live right now as we're doing it and bring the people in from the other platforms. Again, it's amazing how times has changed. I used to be saying to the crowd, hey, get on your phone and tell them we're down here at Bob's Country Bunker. And now it's like, hey, get on your phone and tell them that we're on our phones. so I'm really glad that you guys are here with me. And I wanted to give a shout out to the Midas Touch Network. I saw someone a while ago say they were on, they were watching Legal AF. For those of you that haven't checked that out yet, be sure to check out the Midas Touch podcast and Legal AF. Both of them are phenomenal. My mom and dad are both in their 70s, but they watch Midas Touch now religiously, and I'm very fortunate to be able to work with those guys and put out some videos. They've released 2 of mine this week, and so that's been really cool, and so honored to be part of that network because they do a lot of good work. And what I love about them, and the reason why I love working with them, is because they just cut through the bullshit. You know, they get right down to the point of the matter, and that's what I love the most about them, is they don't sit and try to. You know, a lot of the mainstream sources will spin it in ways that I'm going, did you watch the same thing we did? You know, you'll sit and watch Donald Trump give an interview and say the most bizarre thing you've ever heard in your life. And instead of someone saying, that was pretty crazy, that was pretty bizarre, they'll be like, well, he flew in on a cool-looking plane. Did you see the new plane he had? And I'm like, did you hear he said he wanted to be the dictator on day one? Anybody hear that? You know, and what I love about Midas Touch is they just always get right to the point and say, hey, this is what's actually being said. And so be sure to check out those podcasts. I've learned so much from those. I love working with those guys, but I also watch them and learn because there's so much that a whole lot of people aren't covering, and they do. And so shout out to the Midas Mighty on that one. But I'll do you this tune here. Thanks again to Jeff for reminding me of the song Stone Cold Stunned the President. By the way, I never resorted to doing the things Walter White did, okay, so don't nobody panic. when I said the line about I'm starting to understand him. He was starting to make sense to me, but I never went that far. So we're good. But anyway, this really is a song back in March that I wrote that kind of got the whole political commentary tunes coming out of me. At the time, I've been a musician for 25 years. A lot of people don't know that about me, but I've been playing for so long. And then I started doing political commentary videos talking about current events. And for a while, it took me a little bit of time to figure out how to marry the music with it. It took me a minute to kind of get those two things to sync up. And so at the time, Governor Bill Lee was pretty much just his main concern. The biggest worry he had was drag queens reading books to our kids. And so he was working to ban drag shows and things like that. And I just thought, man, that is such bullshit. And I wrote the tune Bill Lee is a Drag, and it went viral on TikTok. And what sucks is it went viral on TikTok, and I had several other songs do the same thing. I was burning it up on TikTok. And then Elon Musk put that stupid blue check. He made you pay for the blue check. Used to, the blue check mark was for people, it was to let you know that you was talking to the real person, or that was the real person's verified account. So if you're sitting there and you see Bruce Springsteen or Taylor Swift post, you knew the blue check mark meant that's the real person. But then he decides to make people pay for the blue check mark, and if you pay for it, then your videos gets into the news feed. They get into the For You page. And I'm not going to give a billionaire money for a check mark that, wasn't even intended to be used for that purpose. And when that happened, it pretty much just stopped my Twitter growth right dead in its tracks. I was at 22,000 followers, and I've been there ever since, because once that happened, my videos stopped hitting the For You page, and I'm not going to pay him to put them in there. So, yeah, screw that guy. That's the end of that. But thanks to Dominator for the tip. I really appreciate it. And thanks to everyone out there who's been hitting the virtual tip jars. I really do appreciate it. I know times are tough. We're moving into the holidays, and they're right upon us. And I know everyone is, trying to get through that. So tips aren't necessary, but they're greatly appreciated. Really does help out and help me do what I do. But be sure to share this live and let people know we're doing it. Get them in here, and for those of you that may be watching other podcasts at the moment, you can always come back and watch this one. I always upload them, and they're available to watch after the fact. So you can watch the replay. This is a tune that kind of got the political commentary songs rolling for me. It's called Bill Lee is a Drag. The governor says I should be afraid of the latest boogeymen. They're all wearing dresses and reading books to the kids. But it's okay with my children having active shooter drills. And he's never said a word about what the priests have done for real. Yeah, Tennessee is home to me, but I do have to admit it's getting a whole lot harder to say y'all come again. Everywhere I turn, a redneck waves some racist rag. And it's the blind reading the blind, 'cause old Bill Lee, he's a drag. The good old boys dug hair bands back when glam rock ruled the day. They wore spandex and their high heels, and now they're all afraid. And I hear tell the governor used to dress in women's clothes. If you go tell him about it, you can watch his head explode. Yeah, Tennessee is home to me, but these sure are strange times. I never thought I'd see the day when being homeless was a crime. Everywhere I turn, a redneck raves some hateful rag. And it's the blind leading the blind, 'cause old Bill Lee, he's a drag. Yeah, it's the blind leading the blind, 'cause old Bill Lee, he's a drag. All right. again, thank you guys so much for being here. Really appreciate it. Hope everyone is doing good. Hope everyone's staying safe in this weather. If you're in Tennessee, I hope everyone out there is okay. And again, thank you, Jeff, for another tip. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for being here. But yeah, be sure to stay safe in this weather. I know that it's been pretty bad across Tennessee, and I hope everyone's staying safe. Hope everyone's okay. We're good here where I'm at the moment. For those of you that just tuned in, I'm over in East Tennessee. I'm right on the Kentucky-Tennessee border. I'm at the tri-state, so I've always told people I could pull out of my driveway, and in 10 minutes I'm in Kentucky, and in about 5 to 7 minutes I'm in Virginia. So I get the best of all three worlds. It's really what's funny. I was talking about the other day, where I grew up right here on the state line. It's all home to me, like every bit of it, because I grew up over in Kentucky. I was born in Tennessee, grew up in Kentucky, and then moved back to Tennessee. I've been here for like 23 years. But, I'm right literally on the line, and I got family on both sides of that line. And so a lot of times around my house, whenever we say we have to stop and realize, which state are you referring to? Because Mom and Dad was brought up, they was born and raised in Kentucky and lived there most of their life. And they'll say, our governor. And they'll start talking about great things that our governor did. And I'm like, Mom, our governor's not done jack shit. And she's like, well, we're talking about Andy. And I'm like, oh, well, I thought you were talking about Bill Lee. They're like, he's not my governor. I'm like, well, you live in Tennessee now. I was like, yeah, well, we're not claiming him. So this part of the world, I've definitely learned to love the best of all three worlds. And I really, to be honest with you, I don't get caught up in all the sport rivalries. I'm the type of person that if Tennessee's playing Alabama or Kentucky's playing Alabama, I'm still going to pull for Tennessee or Kentucky just because, I'm right here on both. And I've never understood the people that lives in this town that gets all bent out of shape over, oh man, Kentucky sucks. I'm like, you was raised there, dude. It's right next door. There's no point in getting all upset about it. But I like to watch a good game as much as the next person, but I don't get as wrapped up in them. I really don't. I just try to watch the games and enjoy them for what they are, and whichever team's going up against the other one, it's like, okay, if you win, cool. If you lose, cool. I just try not to get bent out of shape about it one way or the other because it's easy to do in this day and age. But, yeah. And that is John Prine behind me on the wall. That is one of the most, ever since I started doing videos like this back in 21, so many people wants to know about that. That's a wood carving. There's also one of Waylon Jennings over here that a lot of people don't see because I'm usually sitting in front of it. But there's a lot of cool stuff behind me on the wall. There's a glare on it on the picture, but right there between Waylon and John Prine, that is a Wes Freed painting. Wes Freed was the artist for the Drive-By Truckers, who's my all-time favorite band, and I've got some of their artwork from the Big To-Do tattooed on my arm there. I'm a diehard Truckers fan. The day that I open up for the Drive-By Truckers will be the day that I just go into hiding. You'll never see me again. But anyway, that's a Wes Freed painting of Billy Joe Shaver that he put out after Billy Joe passed away. And then there's a painting over here of Hunter S. Thompson. That's Tyler Childers' Long Violent History. Over right beside that is Jerry Lee Lewis, who's one of my all-time favorites. My daughter, I think, got me that one. And then I got Ray Charles' record right there on the wall, The Genius Hits the Road. It's one of my favorite albums. And then back here is Drive-By Truckers' Dirty South. And back there is the Barstool Romeos, which is one of my favorite bands out in Knoxville. And if you just tuned in, I was telling people earlier that I was on Mike McGill's podcast. Mike McGill is one of the singer-songwriters in the Romeos. He had me on his podcast, which is called One More for the Good Guys. And I'm looking forward to that one hitting the airwaves. It'll be a couple of weeks before it gets out because he had been recording some episodes, and he's got a lot of cool people here in East Tennessee coming up. And what was so great about being on McGill's podcast, and shout out to Mike for having me on it, and to Jamie Akins, his co-host. What was so great about being on there with those guys is that we took a break. I didn't talk politics. I didn't talk religion. We just sat around and talked cigars. We talked music. We talked Tennessee. We talked Kentucky. We talked about growing up in this part of the world, and just took a breather from all of it. I really appreciate the tip from Greg. I would love to play you that song, man, and one day I will, but on YouTube, I'm not allowed to play cover tunes. I'll get a flag or a copyright claim and strike sometimes for those. It's kind of a pain in the ass. I wished it wasn't that way, but I tell you what, I will be sure to maybe do a video of that tune and just put it out there somewhere for you to hear it. Now, I did do Working Class Hero by John Lennon, but again, when I do those, I have to set them to where they're not monetized so I don't get in trouble for playing other people's tunes. But yeah, thank you guys so much for being here with me. And a lot of people are rolling in from all over. We've had Canada, Texas, now I see Connecticut's here. So really glad to have you guys with me. Alright, let me see. I'm going to change guitars here just for a minute and play a couple of tunes. I always keep some guitars tuned different. This one is an open G, which for those of you Rolling Stones fans, that's the tune that Keith Richards was always playing out of. But I wrote this tune here, and it's the closer on Shots of Truth Volume 2. For those of you that haven't had a chance to check it out yet, go to bandcamp.com. Just like that one time at Bandcamp. Go to bandcamp.com, and under Tennessee Brando, you'll find Shots of Truth Volume 2. I'm still in the process of getting Volume 1 uploaded. Don't ask how I forgot to do that. I don't know why I didn't. I think I was just trying to get it out on Spotify and iTunes and everything else at the time, and forgot to put it on Bandcamp. But I'm going to get Volume 1 up as well. But this song here closed out Volume 2 on purpose. I purposely closed out the whole series of the Shots of Truth albums with this tune, because I did realize one thing, and that was that when I wrote these kind of political satirical tunes, you know, I definitely burned some bridges. I definitely, people that used to talk to me don't talk to me anymore, and people that used to book me on their shows don't have me anymore. And that's okay. I'm not going to sit here and scream cancel culture. I'm not going to sit here and scream that they're trying to silence me or they're trying to take away my First Amendment right. They have every bit of a right to not want to be associated with what I do, and I don't have no hard feelings. But I'm okay with burning that bridge because I don't need it. So this is called Burning Bridges. I'm good at burning bridges. I ain't looking back on the ones that tried to knock me down and stop me in my tracks. You'll never hear me plead. You'll never hear me beg. I'm good at burning bridges. I ain't looking back. Fool me once, you can't get fooled again. However the hell you say it, I won't let the bastards win. You say leave the door open, I may need it one day. I don't need to be reminded, son, I'll slam it in your face. I sat on them too long, waiting on the world to change while I played the same old songs. I'll die upon this hill, I'll gladly stand alone. I ain't mending fences, boys, I sat on them too long. I'm good at burning bridges, I ain't going back. It's true I may have stumbled, but now I'm back on track. I'm gonna let my light shine as they fade to black. I'm good at burning bridges, I'm never going back. Thank y'all so much. I really appreciate it. And we're moving right along, man. We've managed to get 349 people in the house, and that is really cool because for the longest time I was doing these and had about 10 or 15 people. that were loyal and dedicated, and I appreciate all of them. But we finally did it. We finally managed to bring more people. We've hit 350. I remember on the very first show that I did here on YouTube, we managed to get it over 400, and I don't think we've made it back there again. But if you share the video and get it out there to people, maybe we will be able to get it back and get it back up there where it belongs. I'll tell you what, I saw a request for a tune. If you'll give me just a second, I'm going to look for it because I ain't played it since I recorded it. And I honestly don't know if I could remember it to save my life, if I'm just being brutally honest with you. Because a lot of times with these songs, you know, I recorded them, and then that was it. I recorded them, put it on the album, and I ain't played them out since. But I do want to let you guys know one thing that I'm excited about. So hang on to your hats for this. I am allowed to announce this finally. Me and the band is going to be playing at Wayne Stock in Knoxville, Tennessee at the Relics Variety Theater on February the 3rd. So if you want to see me and the band that back me up on Shots of Truth Volume 2, we will be doing the first gig we've played in over a year as a band. So I'm really looking forward to that, to get that out there to you guys. And to play Wayne Stock. And to let you guys know a little bit about what Wayne Stock is about, Wayne Bledsoe is one of my dear friends. He was on my podcast, Shots of Truth, or not, well, it's not Shots of Truth. That's not the podcast name. He was on my podcast, If These Hills Could Talk. And him and John Baker was on an episode, and we had a great time on there with him. Wayne is a Knoxville music journalist, and he and I had a really good conversation. Back years ago, Wayne went through some really hard times, man. And when he did, he lost his wife and his son in the same year, and from just both of them, from just unexpected ways. It was like so out of left field. And when that happened, the musicians of Knoxville decided to get together and raise some money for Wayne to help him and his family. And they called the event Wayne Stock. And so Wayne was very moved by that. And the next year, he decided to do it himself and raise money for someone else in need. And so he did. And then it just caught on and became this annual event in Knoxville. And I've played at it twice before. This is going to be my third time doing it. And I'm looking forward to playing it. But it'll be me and the band, and I'm really excited because it's the same band that backed me up on the last album. I'm looking for this song, and if I can't find it, I apologize in advance. But I'm really looking forward to playing Wayne Stock. The Shots of Truth band was on there with me. Greg Horn's going to be on pedal steel and lead guitar. For those of you that follow me on Facebook and Instagram, I actually shared a picture of Greg the other day. He killed it at the 6 o'clock Swerve in Barley's. Absolutely did a great job. He's one of my favorite people. Creative as hell. Great steel player. Greg's a jack of all trades. You got him in your band, he can bust out some steel guitars, some fiddles, some mandolin, banjo, you name it, and Greg can be all over it. And so he'll be playing pedal steel and lead guitar. John Baker will be on the bass, and Brian Stansbury will be on the drums. And so, I'm really looking forward to that one. Now, I may not be able to find this song, and I don't know if I could get through it or not without the words, because, like I said, I wrote it, played it, and that was that. But I might be able to just do you half of it anyway. These shows are very loose. I never, I found it. Here we go. We're in business. We're in like Flynn now. This song here, good Lord. And I had this song, I'm glad you brought it up. I had this song written for a while. It's funny, this is actually a funny story. I wrote this tune called Bobo's a New Kind of Clown about Lauren Boebert. I wrote this tune, and then she kind of went quiet in the news for a couple of days. Like she wasn't making a fool of herself, which was really weird. And so I just kind of sat back. I was like, you know what? I'm going to keep this one in the can. And when she screws up, I'm just going to release it. So So I first wrote it as like a real sad crying in a beer country song. You know, I thought I'll write it that way. But then I watched her get removed from that movie theater when she was in the movie theater giving out hand jobs in front of kids. The woman that told women that they should chase Jesus harder was down at the movie theater giving out handies. So I really think we owe Pee Wee Herman an apology. But anyway, uh, I thought when I was watching her get escorted out, the way she was walking all feisty and she was all mad, I just kind of flashed back to all my times in the dive bars playing and watching drunks and belligerent people get bounced out. And so I decided to make it more of an up-tempo rocker and play it that way. And it's on Shots of Truth Volume 2. But thank you so much, Kathy, for the tip. I really appreciate it. She says, we really enjoy your down-to-earth comedy. I really appreciate you listening. I really do. To be honest with you, when I started doing this, the very first video that I ever made doing like social just reacting to something was back when one of my favorite country singers, Tyler Childers, put out that record, the Long Violent History. Thank you so much, Leon. I appreciate the tip. Thank you very much. When Tyler put out that album, I just thought that people in my part of the world was very unfair toward him, and I thought they were very just cold-hearted and had a whole lot of cold-hearted comments to say about him, threatening to boycott him, of course, and never go to a show again. And I just thought it was one of the most thoughtful songs, the Long Violent History song. If you've not heard it, go out of your way to hear that album. Now, the entire album is a fiddle album, but at the very end, he comes in with a song called Long Violent History, and if that song don't move you, I don't know what will. And so I made a video. I made a video talking about it, and that video blew up and got about 70-some thousand views, and people started saying to me, you should do that more often. You should sit down and talk into your phone like that. And I was like, well, actually, I just did it that day to keep from typing. I was just too tired to type. So it's kind of a fluke that we ended up here, but I'm glad we did. And so that's kind of how the whole commentary thing started for me. But yeah, this is Bobo's A New Kind of Clown. Bobo's a new kind of clown, a pretty little talking head. The country boys love to stare her down. Yeah, Bobo's a new kind of clown. They put her in tight jeans and a gun on her hip, long curly brown hair and ruby red lips. Her only agenda is on in the lips. Is she really just that dumb, or is she reading the script? Yeah, Bobo's a new kind of clown, a poor man Sarah Palin, and that's sad. Throwing dumb one-liners around. Yeah, Bobo's a new kind of clown. She preaches family values while hers goes off the rails. Tries to praise the good Lord, but too busy raising hell. Now I ain't passing judgment, I know that divorce is tough. But her own words, I guess she didn't chase Jesus enough. Yeah, Bobo's a new kind of clown, always has a handy for everyone. Not one shred of class can be found. Yeah, Bobo's a new kind of clown. Yeah, Bobo's a new kind of clown. All right, thank you guys so much, and I'm glad you asked for that one. It'd been a while since I played it. It's just I write them, I play them, and then here we are. Thank you, Linda, so much for the tip. I really appreciate that. Dale wants to know what guitar do you play? Do you play a Gibson or a Martin? Well, this one is neither. This one is a Ibanez acoustic electric, and I've played it on stage for 12 or 13 years. It's been a good one for me. Now, the one that I was playing a minute ago when I was doing the song "Burning Bridges," I was doing that tune on a Sigma guitar, which is a cheaper version of a Martin. I've never actually owned a Martin. I really wish I had of. But I do have a Gibson Les Paul that I've played for years. That's one of my main guitars. I have a Fender Telecaster, and I have a Epiphone Dot hollow body. One of my favorite guitars I have is a Hagstrom Viking. I think they're made out of Sweden. Those things are sweet, man. They are great guitars, and that's one of my main guitars. And then just the other day, I walked into the old Mustang Lounge over in Tazewell, Tennessee, that used to be a bar, but now it's a pawn shop. And I found a really cool handcrafted guitar that didn't have no text on it, nothing. It's a guy built it and sold it in there, and I was able to land it for like $200. I took it down to my good friend Steve Novelli down in Knoxville. He's the best guitar tech around that I've found. Every guitar that he works on and hands it back to me, it sounds amazing, like the first day you bought it. I mean, it sounds brand new when he gets done with it. So when he gets that guitar worked out and playing good, which it already was playing good, but once he works his magic, we're going to kind of work on that and modify it because it's a blank slate. I'll make sure some pictures of it on Facebook, let you guys see it. But it's just a blank slate, and I thought, you know what, we can sit here and tweak this thing. We can maybe put some different pickups on it, some different flashy tuning keys. We may end up calling it the Brando Caster, and it'll be a good guitar. I've always wanted kind of like my own signature guitar, and this is a good starting point. For $200, it was a steal. Hell, the wood and the hardware that was on it was worth that. So we're going to get that thing fixed up and get out there playing on it. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to getting that guitar in tune. It played great. I mean, it was in tune and stayed in tune. Just the action was a little bit high for my taste, and I wanted to get Novelli to set it up for me. And like I said, he never misses the mark. So if you're a guitar player, you live in that Knoxville part of the world, and you need a guitar worked on, go to Steve Novelli, and he will always steer you right, man. That guy is a real master at what he does. So tell you what, I'll do this tune here for you. Thank you so much, Michael, for the tip. I appreciate all of you for that. I'm going to go just a little bit longer here. Kind of been under the weather, and I'm really congested down in my chest, but so far I've been able to pull it out. And so we'll go a little bit longer here for you guys because I really appreciate the fact that you're here and you're listening. And we've got over 300 people in the house. And so, yeah, it's great having you here. Thank you guys so much for sharing this one and getting it out there. If you haven't shared it already, be sure to do so. Also, you can save it and come back and watch it later. It will be up, and you can go back and watch the replays on these, and they're a lot of fun. I'll end up sharing the replay tomorrow, and you guys, if you get tired and want to tap out and come back and finish watching it later, do that. Also, on any of the videos of mine that you watch, if you be sure to hit the like button and also the little bell button, the little notification button, you'll be alerted whenever I post new stuff. Now, Midas Touch, talking about them earlier, they released a video of mine like 2 days ago, or maybe yesterday. I can't remember exactly. It was either yesterday or the day before. They released a video I did where I was reacting to Jim McGovern for calling out Marjorie Taylor Greene to her face. She was up there, lecturing this guy, and he just came down on her at the end. He's like, I'm tired of being lectured by people like you. I'm tired of being lectured by people who tried to lead an insurrection and who believes in Jewish space lasers. And I thought, it's about time somebody said that. And it really is. A lot of times it's just so tiresome debating with people like that who comes at you quoting Marjorie Taylor Greene of all people. It's like, really? Like that? I'm going to have to hear you lecture me on her? So a long time ago, actually back a couple of years ago, I wrote this tune and put it out there. And that was before everything that I was doing kind of blew up. But thank you so much for watching me on here, and thank you guys so much for watching me on Midas. I really have a good time working for those guys. But this song is called "A Parrot Ain't a Patriot," and what I mean by that is just because you sit and parrot everything that you hear Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert and all these people and Donald Trump say. That's not what being a patriot's all about. So here's this one. Marjorie is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, yet she finds a crowd just dumb enough to believe in that batshit conspiracy stuff. Marjorie is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. QAnon is wacko as wacko can be, spreading bald-faced lies in the name of free speech. They walk on us all and cry, don't tread on me. QAnon is wacko as wacko can be. They think that they're patriots upholding the law, painting their faces and tasing their balls, making a joke in the name of taking a stand. They cry precious on their vacation day. They back the blue till they don't get their way. A parrot ain't a patriot, they all got blood on their hands. Alex is crazier than an old pet coon. He thinks sex is on Mars, we never landed the moon. Gay frogs, lizard people, and satanic typhoons. Alex is crazier than an old pet coon. Sarah was nutty as Mama's cake. She convinced the flock that the news was all fake. Old Donnie was a dipshit, but he carried her flame. Sarah was nutty as Mama's fruitcake. Cling to your Bibles, stick to your guns, but you better wake up now, you're coming undone. We're playing you all for fools, can't you understand? No one is coming for your precious rights, but you can't embrace hatred that helps spread the lies. Parrot ain't a patriot, you don't need that blood on your hands. Yeah, parrot ain't a patriot, y'all got blood on your hands. All right, thank you guys so much. One thing I wanted to take a minute and talk about is a lot of my influence, a lot of the influences that I have, because a lot of people will ask me, they'll say, Brando, why do you write such songs like this? And it's going to alienate people. It could potentially piss people off or whatever. Well, you got to understand that when I first started playing music and listening to songwriters, I really got in to the Bob Dylans of the world, to the John Lennons, to the Neil Youngs, to the people who even Woody Guthrie, to people who said something and rocked the boat and called out the status quo. And so that's something that I really wanted to do. And honestly, so many of my heroes, whether it be Bob Dylan or whether it be Ronnie Van Zant from Skinner. I know Ronnie Van Zant from Skinner is one of those that both sides could argue for the guy, because there's people that could say, well, he told Neil Young to go back to Canada, and then other people could say, yeah, he also said that we should dump handguns to the bottom of the sea. But I always was inspired by those people who wrote those kind of tunes and talked about the issues at hand and didn't care to rock the boat. You know, I'm not knocking my fellow musicians in no way, but I think, so many people sometimes gets caught up in trying to write what's on the radio or to write what's popular. And I can't count the times that I've had people come up to me and they had the best of intentions when they said this stuff. I'm not trying to talk trash about them. I'm just saying a lot of times they come up to me and say, yeah, man, you ought to write a song about a boat because it's summertime, or you ought to write a song about a truck because that's what everybody's writing, or you ought to write a song about chicken because everybody's writing about that now. And I'm like, well, that's all cool and good, but there's a lot of things going on in the world that we could be talking about and saying. And so I was always inspired by the Neil Youngs and people like that. And I actually went and got me a subscription to YouTube Music. Speaking of Neil Young, I got me a subscription to YouTube Music just so I could hear him again because I've got Spotify and he's not on there anymore, and I can't blame him for it. But went and got some YouTube Music to listen to Neil Young, which I have all of his records. I've got a really cool record player behind me sitting back here. It's one of those old Zeniths. It's like you lift the lid up. I just got to get some work done on it and get it cranking up again. And so, yeah, I really appreciate you guys for being here. I do want to remind you of another show that's coming up in Knoxville. My good buddy Mike McGill has the Christmas Spectacular. And what date is that?
17th.
The 17th. That's December 17th at the Bijou Theater. I'm not going to be singing this year. I sung a couple of years ago at it. It was great. Honor to be on the stage. But this year, Mike always has a new lineup and a fresh group of faces. And it's a really good thing. And all of the proceeds goes to the Second Harvest Food Bank. So if you can make it out to that one, be sure to do so because that's one of the best shows in Knoxville. I love when he puts it together. He started doing it years ago at Barley's with the goal to get it to the Bijou Theater, and he finally pulled it off a couple of years ago. I was on the first one that he did at the Bijou Theater. Well, actually, I think he streamed one from the Bijou, I think, by himself during COVID. And then when we were allowed to come back out after COVID, we did it from the Bijou, and then we're doing it again. And so be sure, if you've never checked out Mike McGill's Christmas Spectacular, that's December 17th, which I think it's a Sunday. So it's a great show and a great cause. And so I want to say thanks to Mary for hitting the virtual tip jar on Venmo. I really appreciate you so much. So, always know you don't have to do that, but they're very much appreciated at this time in the year. And I know everybody's struggling, so they're not required. Everybody just sit back and enjoy the show. But thank you so much to Mary for that one. And yeah, there's actually a video of me if you look up Brandon Fulson, Brandon Fulson. There's actually a video of me doing Cortez the Killer with my good buddy Chris. We just sat around on our acoustic guitars and banged out a version of Cortez the Killer by Neil Young. I think it's still up. I'm pretty sure that video is still out there. So if you've not seen it, go out of your way and find it. Play y'all a couple more. We'll go for a few more minutes and do this. I always have a great time doing it, and you guys really always make the show interesting and fun. We made it up a while ago. We had 350 people. We've stayed over 300. The last time we stayed over 200 the entire time, and this time we've stayed over 300. And so that's a big accomplishment. And I appreciate you guys so much for sitting there and doing it. Really appreciate you hanging out with me on this Saturday. And I'm going to try to do these at least 2 times a month. I may end up doing one more toward the end of December, but now we've got next week's the 16th, and then we got the 23rd, the 30th. We may shoot for the weekend of the 29th, 30th, and do it on one of those days there. But someone wanted to know if I've ever recorded down in Muscle Shoals, Alabama. No, but that's definitely on the bucket list. That is definitely there. And I didn't know that. I just saw the comment that Tyler's playing at Andy's inauguration. That's awesome. I'm really glad to hear that. Tyler Childers is one of the good guys, and it's great to see that he's doing that. So yeah, happy Brando Day back to you. I really appreciate you for being here, Jennifer. Thank you so much. Thanks to Jeff for hitting the tip jar. And remember, those aren't necessary, but they're very much appreciated. Just sit back and enjoy the show. Yeah, that's cool. Washburn electric bass guitar. I never had a Washburn bass, but I did have a Washburn acoustic. It was one of my favorite guitars I ever owned. It's one of those guitars you let get away and you say, "Damn, I wish I hadn't let that one get away." But okay, I'm glad that I introduced you to Tyler Childers. I feel good about that, knowing that I got someone into his music. That's great. And if those of you out there is going, "Who's Tyler Childers? Who's he talking about?" Just go out of your way to find it. His album Purgatory was absolutely great. Country Squire is a good one, and Long Violent History is awesome. He put out a new one this year, I think. So yeah, be sure to check out Tyler Childers if you haven't already. I saw this song roll across, and I'm going to go ahead and play it for you guys before we go. Now, this song here is one that I never would have expected to write, say, 5 or 10, 15 years ago. Never would have thought I'd have wrote this, because there's a funny story behind it. You know, I grew up on country music. I don't ever remember a time in my life that I didn't hear the names or the music of Johnny Cash, Buck Owens, Willie Nelson, Waylon Jennings, Hank Williams Jr. and Sr. You know, that music was just always playing in my house. I don't ever remember someone introducing me to Jerry Lee Lewis or Elvis or Ray Charles or the Beatles or the Stones. It was just, my mom and dad had a very eclectic music collection. And so there was a lot of good stuff in my house growing up. Everything from Buck Owens to Ray Charles to Bill Monroe, Flatt and Scruggs, over to, like, you know, the Stones and the Faces and people like that. And so I had a real eclectic music growing up. And then I would go down to my Aunt Brenda. She's who gave me the record player that I'm going to have to get fixed here, sitting behind me. And Brenda was more into stuff like the Eagles and Skinner and the Allman Brothers, Marshall Tucker, Jackson Brown, you know, Neil Young and all that music there. So, you know, I was just surrounded by good music growing up. And then Garth Brooks come along in the 90s, and I'd be a liar if I said that I didn't have his first couple albums. I think pretty much every country music fan did. But as time went on, he just kind of kept getting more and more poppy with it. And when he did the whole Chris Gaines thing, he kind of lost me on that. I kind of felt like that was a little ridiculous, and still do. But then recently, in more recent years, I just noticed that anytime he was out doing something, he was doing something good for people, you know. And he was helping, you know, Jimmy Carter build houses and things like that. And I just noticed that he did good things for humanity. And so I can appreciate that, you know, even though if I don't necessarily care for someone's music, I can appreciate when they do something good. I'm not a Kid Rock fan, and I've wrote 2 songs over the last couple of years poking fun at him. But, you know, Kid Rock used to go around in Tennessee and pay off railways for people in Walmarts. And I thought that was a cool thing. I may not, you know, care for the guy's music or his politics, but I could say, hey, that's a cool thing to do. And so when I seen Garth Brooks back earlier this year when they were having the whole Bud Light debate, and Garth was talking about opening up his bar, he said that, you know, he wanted to open up his bar and he wanted it to be all-inclusive. He wanted people to come to his bar and feel comfortable being in it. And he said, you know, if you want to be an asshole, just go somewhere else. And I thought that was reasonable. I didn't see the controversy of that. I thought that's a reasonable thing to say. And a lot of people got mad at him over it. You know, a lot of people got mad and started going off on him for it. And I was like, well, you know, it's kind of a strange, you know, they'll say that politics makes for some strange bedfellows. I was like, I never would have thought 15, 20 years ago I'd be siding with Garth Brooks, but here we are. And so I wrote this tune called A Beer with Garth, and if I ever get to go down to his bar, I'm going to have me a Bud Light in his bar and video it just to be a jerk. Or just to give it back to him, I guess I should say. But this is a song that almost didn't make the album Shots of Truth Volume 2. And if you just tuned in, that album is available on Bandcamp.com. Just like that one time at Bandcamp. Go to Bandcamp.com and you can find this tune. And thanks to everyone so far who's bought it and downloaded it. It's been my best-selling album so far, and I'm very grateful for all of you. This tune almost didn't make it. And then one day I was going back through my songs and seen it and went, wait a minute, you can't leave that one off. And so started playing it. Funny story, we was recording it in the studio, and Greg, the steel player, looked up at me and he said, you know, I really like this tune, man. I said, yeah. I said, dude, I almost didn't record it. I said, you know, when I wrote it, I meant for it to be funny. I said, I meant for it to be a funny tune, but the more I listen to it, the sadder it is. And he's like, yeah, that's the good ones. So this is A Beer with Garth. It felt like the times were changing, so we all believed. We thought we were making progress. Damn, were we naive. Some folks need a hero, and that hero found his crowd and gave them all the balls to say quiet parts out loud. Then rage became the fashion, disrespect became the trend, and assholes want to make hate great again. Politics make for strange bedfellows, and now here we are, tuning out the trits and having a beer with Garth. We get told we hate our country if we don't back their guy. We point out the obvious, they hit their gaslight. They tell us we hate Jesus while they sit and wish us death. Well, I've read the books and they don't look a thing like the words in red. Then rage became the fashion, disrespect became the trend, and it's time that we make those racists afraid again. Now politics make for strange bedfellows, and now here we are, tuning out the kid, having a beer with Garth. Yeah, we're tuning out all the bullshit, having a beer with Garth. All right, well, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate you so much for sticking around here with me tonight at the table. And we'll be back here in a few weeks and do you another one. I wanted to play this tune before we go. And if I don't see you guys here on a live stream before Christmas, then I want to go ahead right out the gate and wish you guys a Merry Christmas. Hope you have a happy holiday, and hope it's a good one for you. I really appreciate you guys for tuning in with me tonight. Yeah, one of these days I need to write that, a joint with George for sure. Or there was a song "Weed with Willie," so there was that one. But yeah, I want to wish you guys whatever holiday it is you're celebrating. Be sure to have a good one. I've never understand why people have got so bent out of shape and made that a argument. When they start talking about the oh, that too. Yeah, sorry. But yeah, I never understood why people got so bent out of shape over whether you said Happy Holidays or Merry Christmas. I can tell you that I say both, and it just depends on what someone says to me. If someone says Happy Holidays, I say it back. If someone says Merry Christmas, I say it back, or Have a Good Christmas, or whatever the hell. But I don't believe in getting bent out of shape over that. So, yeah, and I also want to remind you guys, I forgot about this, but I did get nominated for an award by the Appalachian Arts and Entertainments Awards out of Prestonsburg, Kentucky, which was a true honor. This is my 4th time being nominated for an award. First time I got nominated for Best Songwriter, and then it was Best Singer, and then last year it was Social Media Influencer, and this year it's Social Media Influencer. Now, I've been nominated before, but I've never brought one home, so maybe the 4th time will be the charm. And I really appreciate you guys so much for nominating me and getting me in there. If you want to vote, go to the Appalachian Arts and Entertainments Awards.com. It's out of Prestonsburg. For those of you that aren't from our part of the world, or for those of you that don't recognize some of the people that are in there with me, I'm under Best Social Media Influencer, and they abbreviated it as TN Brando. So that's the only category that I'm in this year. But I'm so grateful to be there. But now, if you don't necessarily know this part of the world, and you're going to have to vote for everything, is what I'm trying to say. You're going to have to vote for every category to be able to hit the submit button and make it go through. So if you go to Best Graphics Design, be sure to vote for Jess Bowman. She is who does all of my thumbnails here on YouTube, all my album covers, all my flyers. When you see me post, I'm going live on YouTube. It's her. She's also been the bouncer tonight and helped get people out of here which I don't know if we had any trolls really. Did we have a few? Okay, well, I missed it. I was busy having a good time and didn't see the trolls get bounced. It's kind of different. Back when I played the bars, I usually saw them get bounced. That was pretty funny. I got plenty of stories on that. But if in best graphics design, vote for Jess Bowman. She's who does all my work, thumbnails, album covers, flyers, and all that. Because I absolutely suck at that. I'm the world's worst. If you ever see like a really generic thumbnail or like a really generic, flyer, it's because she was sick that day and I attempted to make one and butchered it. So there's that. Also, when you get into the best guitar player category, my buddy Cody Lee Meese, man, he is like Kentucky's answer to Stevie Ray Vaughan. He is a beast of a guitar player, hell of a dude. So I would highly recommend voting for Cody Lee Meese. When you get into the best songwriter, I'm a big fan of Donnie Bolin. I would cast my vote that way. That's what I would recommend. And then my good friend Renee Cobb is up for a couple of different awards. If you see that name, be sure to vote for Renee. There's a whole lot of talented people in this part of the world, and I'm just honored to be mentioned alongside of them. It'll be interesting to see, best social media influencer. I'm surprised that I was even nominated for it, to be honest with you, because we're in deep red Kentucky for that one. And, I don't know if they will post my work up on the big screen or not. I mean, I don't know what they would do, really. I've sat back and cracked up about it. I'm like, well, would it be those moments like, check out his work? And here he is, like, slamming Trump right in the middle of Trump country. I don't know how that would go over. But I really appreciate you guys for nominating me and having me to be part of it. It's going to be an honor. So, yeah. My name and email. You can find me on, if you're asking about where to, on the appies, if you're asking that question, I'm listed under TN Brando. There's another Brando with a name that I can't pronounce. That's not me. Nothing against the dude. I'm just saying that's not me. If you see a different Brando, I'm TN Brando. That's me. My email is tnbrando423 at Gmail. You can reach me there if you need to reach me. Somebody will try to shoot the link over to him. All right. Yeah, she's going to get the link for you in the comments there, because it's AppalachianArtsAndEntertainmentSword.com, and I had a hell of a time typing that all out. They call it the Appies. I don't know why it couldn't have just been the Appies.com. But, see, John Dalton, Wade Garrett, Prodigy is the best bouncer. Yeah, they probably should have had that category. That would be great. Best bouncer. I knew a few back in my day that was pretty good that I wouldn't have messed with. But it's starting to thunder here in East Tennessee, so they said the rain will be coming here pretty quick, and we'll see how that goes. It's starting to sound a little rough. Hopefully the internet don't get knocked out before I wrap this thing up. But I'll tell you what, I'll play y'all two more. How about that? How's two more sound? I'll do you those. And I'm going to play you this one here. Trying to figure out what note I want to go out on. But I'll play you this tune here because this is one of my favorites. I released it as a single earlier this year. It's under Tennessee Brando on all the music apps. I'll tell you the story behind it real quick. Now, this song also appeared on my album Forgotten Appalachia under Brandon Fulson. You can find it out there. The original version just had me and a baritone guitar, but Novelli's working on my baritone as we speak, so I don't have it with me. I'm going to play it on my regular acoustic here. Well, I got to get the one that's tuned the right way. But, no, a good friend of mine had been battling addiction for a while. And I was making the album Forgotten Appalachia at the time, and I just felt like the album was missing something. I felt like it needed something else, It's like it's not really done. And I realized that I'd talked a whole lot about the issues at hand in our part of the world, and I talked a whole lot about drug use, but I really hadn't talked about the survivors, I really hadn't talked about those who had beat drug addiction. And a friend of mine had been going through it, and she had beat it. But there was one thing she couldn't seem to part ways with, and that was her reefer. She just had a hard time parting ways with that. There were some people giving her a hard time about it and telling her that was going to be the gateway drug back to the life she used to live. And she was just making the argument that, she hadn't touched anything hard in forever. And but that was just the one thing she did. And I was over here going, I don't know why people's giving her a hard time about that. And I just sat there and watched people going back and forth with her about it, and the words to this song came to me. Thank you, Truly Honest, for just voting. I really appreciate that. Thank you. But I just decided to write her a song. And I called it the Hillbilly Angel. Been 18 months since you kicked that demon. 6 a.m. and the baby screaming, the cold trucks woke up Maggie again. She still likes her reefer in the morning, gets tired of hearing her shrink a warning. Now she's one toke away from a gateway back to sin. Works part-time down at Conley's Drive-In. Such a great time to be alive in. Old men hang around to watch her sway. Some like to flirt and some talk shitty. Pick-up lines worse than Conway Twitty. Smiles through gritted teeth for take-home pay. She left Path Fork and she headed for the crater, just to get away from all of the haters. She goes home alone, ain't nobody's darling. When she smiles, she looks just like Harlan. Who'd have thought she'd ever live to tell? She's a hillbilly angel on a mountain that's blown to hell. Her figure's coming back, the family's talking. Some try to say she's out street walking. She's out on the porch taking selfies on Instagram. Her ex-old man's out causing a riot. Heard he's back on that Jenny Crank diet. Looks back and can't believe she ever gave a damn. Now mama says, girl, you really need Jesus. She's too busy crushing on Norman Reedus. Besides, she can't go out on a Sunday night. Gets lost in her songs every time she hears them. Caught up in the groove and addicted to the lyrics. If anyone asks, tell them she's doing alright. Yeah, she goes home alone, ain't nobody's darling. When she talks, she sounds just like Harlan. And who'd have thought she'd ever live to tell? She's a hillbilly angel on a mountain that's blown to hell. Just a hillbilly angel on a mountain that's gone to hell. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I lied. I said I was going to do 2 more songs, but I'm going to do 2 more now. Because someone commented and said legalize it, and I am all for that. And it's not even my thing, but I'm absolutely all for it. And it made me think of a tune that I wrote called Elmo King, which was on my album Forgotten Appalachia. It's under Brandon Fulson, Fulson. I wrote this tune because I knew the 2 people in this. Thank you so much to Snow6390 for the tip. Happy holidays to you and your family. Thank you for the music tonight. Thank you for listening, and thank you for the tip. I really appreciate it. Yeah, this tune here I wrote back then because I thought, I knew both the people that made up this character. I ended up just taking 2 people that I knew personally, and I morphed them into one character. And years later, I was driving by driving by the RV that I name dropped in this song, a friend of mine was like, "Hey, I said, hey, there's the RV where I used to buy the weed at." And I was like, "You mean that was a true story?" I was like, "Well, yeah, it's a true story. How can you make this up?" It's like, it's Southeast Kentucky. Of course this is true. But anyway, one of them has passed on. He's no longer with us. I'm not sure about the other one. I've not seen him in years, but one of them was a relative of mine. And so I just combined these two people and created the character of Elmo King, and I'm right there with you. Let's legalize it. Elmo King sells a little weed, he wouldn't harm a fly. Out back of the church in his RV was the first time I got high. He said it ain't like pills, it ain't like wine, it's a God-given herb. It was heaven sent, but the government went and done outlawed the herb. Now them meth heads are selfish, they won't share their stash. You give a redneck vodka and he'll try and whip your ass. But a stoner will share his good time, so take a toke and pass it around. Elmo King sells a little weed, the finest in town. Elmo King sold a little weed a few miles from the school. A friend in need, he turned out to be an undercover man in blue. Well, they drove by pushers and they passed up hookers to haul Elmo away. And now the grandkids are gonna be all grown before he sees the light of day. Hero in Colorado is still an outlaw in these hills. Front page bust covers up all the sheriff's dirty deals. Yeah, they're shutting down in a welfare town. We done fell on hard times. So Elmo King sold a little weed and I don't see the crime. Yeah, Elmo King sold a little weed. And it ain't no crime. All right, well, thank you guys so much. And before I go, I just want to remind you, don't forget the Mike McGill Christmas Spectacular. I'll be there watching and cheering Mike on and all the great guests that he's got. That's going to take place at the Bijou Theater on December the 17th. So be sure to check it out. It's one of the best shows in town. And then on February 3rd, me and the band will be at Wayne Stock in Knoxville, Tennessee at the Relics Variety Theater. I don't know all of the lineup yet. As a matter of fact, I don't know any of it but one, and I'm not allowed to say who it is. But it's going to be a hell of a lineup. I'm really looking forward to it. Wayne Stock never disappoints, and that's actually going to be a 3-day event. It's Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. I'm going to be there Saturday playing, but I'll be there all weekend helping out. I've already volunteered to help Wayne out with everything, and so I'll be there all weekend. Stop by and say hello, and then we'll get up, and me and the band will lay it down on the way out. It'll be a good time. I think right now at the moment we're slated for the 9 o'clock time slot, but that could change. They're still getting the show in order and everything. And I was asked, hey, if if something were to happen and we need to move you around a little bit, I said fine. I'm just honored to play it and honored to be out there playing with the band again and doing that. So I figured we'd close with this tune here. I wanted to close kind of more on an uplifting note, on a high note. We started off the show with Bubba's Mad at Target. I played that for the little Santa. And so we can't leave without playing one for the Buddha. And for those of you that never heard this story before, we're still hanging in there at 295 people. Man, I really appreciate you so much. Thank you guys for sharing this and getting it out there. But I'll tell the story behind where this little Buddha come from before we go. I was hanging out with a really good friend of mine. And we were partaking in some stuff that Elmo King would have been proud of. And so, like I said, it's not my thing, but you catch me in the right mood and I'll do it. So anyway, we're sitting around and we're really feeling good. And then we were out in the yard, had a campfire built, and then we decided, well, it's getting a little cold, let's go inside. So we go inside, and when we walked inside, This very wooden Buddha statue was sitting on her dresser. And I mean, look how happy he looks, man. He is smiling away. And so I picked him up, and I'm really feeling good. And the more I looked at him, for some reason, the funnier his smile got to me. And I started laughing at him. I just was rolling laughing. And my friend said, "Why are you laughing at my Buddha?" And I said, "Look how happy he looks." I said, "He really looks happy. He really looks like he's happy to be here. Look at that big Jimmy Carter smile he's got going there, you know." And she said, "Well, the Buddha is happy, and he wants you to be happy." I said, "Okay, cool." And so the next day when I went to leave, my friend said to me, he said, "Here, I want you to have my Buddha." And I said, "You've had that forever. I don't want to take your Buddha, you know." And she said, "No." She said, "That's the hardest I've ever seen you laugh and the most I've ever seen you smile. And I think you need the Buddha more than I do." So she told me to rub his belly for good luck. And it actually ended up being a great thing, because when I came home, I had studied Buddhism before and read it back in high school, but I had it'd been a while since that I had really tapped back into it. And I started tapping back into it, reading it, and realizing that, you know what, I'm not really a religious person. I'm not really into the whole, organized religion side of it, but Buddhism is more of a philosophy. And I listen to a lot of secular Buddhism podcasts that kind of breaks it down the way that I see it. There's a really good one called Secular Buddhism with Noah Rashida that I absolutely love. And so, thanks to my friend, and thanks to this Buddha, it kind of got me back into reading something that has been very helpful to me to read it and to get back into it. And, I'm reminded from time to time when I look over and see this statue that I need to start living up to the words to these songs, or to this song in particular. So we'll close it out with the Laughing Buddha, and thank you guys so much for being here with me. Buddha sat on her dresser with a Jimmy Carter smile. She said, "Rub his belly for good luck. You're gonna need it for a while." Come to think, when I've seen Buddha, he's got a glassy-eyed grin, unlike the guy from my raising who was too busy dying for sin. Yet Jesus sat on the mantle. He had such a stoic face. He looked miserable above the altar and strung out at Grandma's place. And even knocking on my door, he had a sad look in his eye. Kinda got me thinking maybe I've been talking to the wrong guy. Well, I've done unto others, they nearly done me in. I've turned the other cheek and they tried to cave it in. And I laid down my life for people who would not go a mile for me. So Jesus, if you're listening, I hope somehow you see. I can't carry the cross no longer. I can't live with nail-scarred hands. And I can't die for people who don't care to understand. And it is not my place to bear the sword in vain. I gotta be the Laughing Buddha before I go insane. I'm no savior, I'm no healer. I don't have the answers yet. I'm not a preacher, I'm no teacher. I'm just a poet with a pen. And I ain't gonna let them string me up just to serve as their own fate. So when they ask you how they lost control, you can tell them that I'm awake. And I've done unto others, they nearly done me in. I turned the other cheek and they tried to cave it in. And I laid down my life for people who would not go a mile for me. So Jesus, if you're listening, I hope somehow you see. I can't carry the cross no longer. I can't live with nail-scarred hands. And I can't die for people who won't try to understand. And it is not my place to bear the sword in vain. I gotta be the Laughing Buddha before I go insane. I better be the Laughing Buddha or I just might go insane. All right, and thank you guys again, man, so much for being here with me at the table. It's always a great time. Thank you guys so much that hit the virtual tip jars, and I really appreciate that. I hope everyone has a really good Christmas, really good holiday, and I hope we have a really good New Year. Don't forget Wayne Stock, February 3rd. Relics Variety Theater in Knoxville, Tennessee, 9 p.m. I'll be there rocking it out with the band, and so we're going to have a good time at that show. Until next time, man, thank you guys so much for being here, and have a good one. It's always a great time with you guys. Love you, and take care of yourselves. And stay safe in this Tennessee weather. All of you out there in Tennessee, just be sure to stay safe, and let me know if you need anything. We love you.